Hello out there and welcome to yet another edition of Focus Live on OGTV, where we take a look at some topical issues and we bring people into the studios to dissect these issues with a view to enlighten ourselves the more and also get on board whatever any issue that is trending around us in this part of the world. Of course, we recall that recently the president of this nation, President Muhammadu Buhari, in an effort to rejig the economy, constituted Economic Advisory Council to replace Economic Management Team that was either in place before that constitution. This committee, or this council, sorry to say, has basically economists, people that have their root in economic matters right from the one that they've been in place in this part of the world. So and that is why everybody has been talking that possibly this council will give a policy direction that will reposition the economy for you and I to enjoy the better. But that is just the opening remarks. I have in the studio two gentlemen that will also be taking a look at this all-important topic that we have coined for the program this week. So we have also assembled an economic team in the house. You agree with me by the time I introduce the two gentlemen with us in the house. To my left, I have Mr. Adeyemi Oluwole, who is a lecturer with the Economic Department of Chrisland University here in Abeokuta. You're welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Welcome, sir. The presenter.
Right. And of course, to complement him, we also have another economist in the house, and that's Alhaji Mukhtar Ajayi, a senior lecturer, accounting department of Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, equally in Abeokuta. You're also welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good afternoon, viewers.
Okay, so Mr. Oluwole, let's begin this way. When you look at the composition of this team, you cannot but agree with the president, just like most Nigerians have also agreed that, in fact, this is the best thing to happen to our economy in this nation. The likes of former governor of CBN is there, Charles Soludo. We have a former member of Monetary Policy Committee of the CBN, and that's the chairman, Professor Doyin Salami, and the likes of that. Yes. Now, is this step good enough to juxtapose the repositioning of the economy that the presidency is actually talking about?
Well, actually, going by the composition of this new council member, we will give a thumb up for Mr. President that the composition and configuration of people and men in this council actually merit it, given the fact that many of them have been part of economic reforms in the past, and specifically the president, the chairman of the council member is a renowned academic here, and a lecturer also in Pan-Atlantic University in Nigeria, and a member of a business school, Lagos Business School. And many other ones are there, Professor Charles Soludo, of a renowned economist that have been the forefront leading the reforms, the banking reform of 2005. And the likes of the Dr. Mrs. that is among them, Iyabo Masha, they are a good composition, and everybody believe that this will reposition the economy of Nigeria and move us to growth.
But certainly, Mr. what we tend to also ask you, that when you said in the past they've engaged in economic reforms, we have seen them formulate policies in the past, but these are not actually translated into tangible economic terms, because Nigeria went into a recession at a point in time. We came out of that recession. Our growth rate, GDP in this country, is about 2.0. That is gross domestic product. So now, where were they then? Until now that they are coming about, they have been at strategic positions in the past, but Nigerians have not seen the impact.
Well, actually, there are a lot of factors that will have contributed to this. Number one, the continuation in policy. We have changes in government, and government ought to be a continuity. But presently in Nigeria, we discovered that one government will come on board and began to change policy, another one will come on board and change policy. It has not been consistent. So inconsistency of policy will have been a contributing factor to this effect. Then another factor is this: after some of them were brought on board, they were retired back to their bases. policies were not being formulated and continued implemented. Some were implemented halfway and shifted into another one. So all these ones are contributing to the fact that policy may not be consistent, and their impact and effect on the GDP may not be really being felt presently. As it were, just as you said, sir, that the GDP presently is around 2 points. And going by the growing population rate of 2.06, I mean 2.6, a lot of things will have been in the background that will be, waiting like a bombshell that will kill the economy of Nigeria if something drastically is not being done, just like this new set of people that are being brought on board, which we believe will reform the economic system of Nigeria and reposition it for growth and development.
Okay, thank you. Alhaji Ajayi, well, this administration at the inception in 2015 did say they are bringing a change on board. Now, 2019, that mantra changed to next level agenda. So are we beginning to see one of the items on the agenda that will bring about the desired next level in terms of economic prosperity of this nation?
Thank you very much. I think the bane of Nigerian economic woe is not a matter of policy formulation. It is the policy implementation. The new crop of people that are on board now, fine, like my colleague said, they are renowned economists, tested and trusted. But like I said, it is not a matter of people that are there. It is a matter of whatever recommendation they have, will it be fully implemented? I'm sorry to say this. I'm not totally in agreement with the views of so many others that the crop of people that are being brought in. Look at the people that we had before, economic management team, that is they're supposed to manage the economy. What is Economic Advisory Council? It is subject to the approval or otherwise by the president. The buck lies on the president's table.
I'm also that they have to report directly
to the president. Then, so I don't see management team is quite different from advisory team. This committee, the 8-member committee headed by Salami, is an advisory committee, not a management team, unlike what we had with Professor Yemi Osinbajo. And okay, fine, we are seeing new things the next level. The only thing I would say is that economic policy, fiscal policy and monetary policies, they go hand in hand. Now, my candid opinion and advice is that this team, they should center mostly on the fiscal policy of the government. Now we have started seeing it, that even they have not been inaugurated, but I can see that, like you said, the next level, border has been closed. That's what I'm saying, that they have to implement some of these things. That border has been closed, there will be increase in the VAT rate, and the effect of the cashless policy, in which the CBN is now saying that to withdraw or save money, you have to pay charges. So these are monetary policy of CBN. But the fiscal policy of border closure, the increase in the VAT rates, I think this Economic Advisory Committee Council should endeavor to marry it along with international policies, not only to domesticate it in Nigeria, because Nigerian economy is so volatile. Nigerian economy is such an economy that we are import-driven economy. We are not export-driven economy. Most of our consumption here in Nigeria are being imported. That is why you have talked about the GDP. That is why it's dwindling. As at the last count, as at March or so, according to Debt Management Authority in Nigeria, they said Nigeria external debt is about $81.2 billion. And we have its external reserve of 45-point-something billion. You can see there has been a disparity. This external reserve has been in decline of recent time. Perhaps we know better that the glut in the oil market and the inability of the government to push most of our export. But thank God that the government is now diversifying from oil-based economy to agric, and in the next few or 2 or 3 years, the thing will continue to manifest.
Okay, still on this council. Now, if this council formulates policies, economic policies, as it were, to assist government of the day in pushing the economy to a desirable level. Yeah. Now, we still have other agencies like National Economic Council, which is still headed by or presided over by the Vice President of this nation. And we also have some other teams that are also there. Yeah. The CBN has its own monetary policy committee, which just rose from meeting a couple of days ago, and some other issues of that. Now, how often should they interface with these other agencies so that everyone can be on the same page and be able to drive the economy in the right direction? Because if they work at cross purposes, then we might begin to retrogress in a way.
Yeah. So just like the terms of reference given to this council is that one, they should meet on monthly basis. They can call emergency meeting, and they also interface with the president maybe on quarterly basis. Sir, but like you rightly said, I think there should be an interface between all other ministry departments and agencies, so that whatever policy they have in mind to implement, they will have discussed, harnessed, then the issue of implementation will not be a bottleneck for this ministry department and agencies. You know, for instance, if they recommend any policy to the president alone cannot decide. Such a recommendation should be forwarded to National Economic Council, in which we have the Tennessee State Government, the CBN Government, Minister for Finance and the rest, Budget and Planning. So all of them should sit together and fashion out how this, however beautiful or a policy might be, if people are working at cross purposes, it will not be in the best interest of Nigerians' economy. So that is why the terms of level, like I said, that they should meet on monthly basis, interface with other agencies, is one of the terms of reference. I believe that they will interface and come out with better policy formulation. But like I said, how are we be able to implement whatever policy that are being recommended?
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Oluwole. One of the greatest challenges rather, that this council might likely face in the immediate future, because one of the members here, Mr. Bismarck Rowani, I could recall his comments when the Labour agitated for increase in minimum wage, and at the end of the day we agreed on 30,000 naira. That has not come into effect. Is this council also likely to see this as a hurdle that must be crossed? Because if we are formulating policies that are likely to be counterproductive to the minimum wage, then the economy that we are looking to jumpstart on a fast lane might likely have a kind of a brick wall that will prevent it from going ahead.
Well, actually, the new set of economic policy advisory committee or council to the president will have to hit the ground running, harmonizing the discrepancies between the economic policy and welfare economics. That means people's welfare. Now, part of this welfare is this minimum wage issue that has been on ground for sometimes now and has not been really been solved. So, in order not to be at loggerhead with the workforce and not to run at cross purposes with the people that they are working for, representing, then there is need to harmonize these policies. Whatever policy they want to harmonize, they want to formulate or implement, although at this level we may not say that they will be there implementing policies. They may just be at the formulating stage. They will formulate, present to the government through the presidency, and if the president have the political will to adopt those policies and implement them, then it will be good for the nation. But the issue of this minimum wage has to be addressed and harmonized so that it won't be a hurdle or a clog in the wheel of their own program and policies. So in that manner, they will need to sit down with Mr. President and ensure that this minimum wage is implemented as quickly as possible, so that it will not be a hindrance to whatever they have in mind to do for the nation.
It's taking up on the issue of welfare programs, welfare policies that will cushion the effect of the economy. Now, the government is also trying to propose a 2.2% increase of the VAT, value-added tax in Nigeria. Yes. That has not come into effect. Government has not given a deadline as to when it will take effect. But the point is that with this in mind and the cashless policy that has to do with deposits and withdrawal. Now, should this council also be looking in that direction? Because if the economy is not that friendly, not that flexible to accommodate all shades of opinions, all shades of people in the society, then whatever they come up with at the end of the day might not augur well for the nation.
For the nation. Truly, with the crop of people we have in this advisory council, and most of them being market-driven, oriented people, and as they have the feelings and the impact, the lives of the Bismarck Rewane that have been in this industry, and also who has his business listed in the Nigeria Stock Exchange, one of the directors there. So a lot of them has the feelers, and most of them are outsiders, just coming in afresh into the system, coming into the government. They have had feelers with people. They know that a lot of this policy, especially this fiscal policy on tax increase on value-added tax, is not going down well with the people of Nigeria and the populace in particular. So with that, on the advisory level, they will have to come together to advise Mr. President on this issue, either to retain it or to reduce it, or perhaps to just cancel it outrightly, now that government have not actually implemented it. And the issue of this cashless policy, withdrawing and payment at a margin that you have to pay some charges, and I mean, it's not being done in some places, and it's not welcome in this time of economic hardship. In order to cushion the effects of this economic hardship on the people of Nigeria, I think this advisory committee has to do more by advising Mr. President on reversing most of this policy. There are other means of encouraging revenue or bringing revenue, sustainable revenue, not an unsustainable one that will not be effective, or that will be too harsh on the people at this present stage of the economy. The economy needs to grow, the economy needs to increase in growth rate, but with some other things that will not be part of welfare to the people, that will not bring welfare to the people, that will not translate into the welfare of the life of the people, I think the government needs to do something about it, so that these people that have been expecting dividend of democracy and the next level in government will not be dejected at the end of the day.
Okay, but permit me to take you up on the issue of some of these members, or virtually all these members are coming afresh into government. But in the past, we have seen a handful of them involved in economic policies of this nation. Yes. At a point in time, Professor Chukwuma Soludo was CBN governor.
Yes.
Two times. And that was a period when he took over from Lamido, or Lamido took over from him. That was the period we had recapitalization of banks in Nigeria, and yet our banks are not healthy yet. Then when you look at the chairman, Professor Doyin Salami, Doyin Salami is part of the front economic management team, and is now the chairman of this. Bismarck Rewane has always been in the forefront of one economic policy or the other, making sure that things are done the right way. Then Dr. Mohamed Adaya Salisu was in the economic management team, is now secretary of this economic advisory council. So they are not new. So what are they bringing new on the table that will change the face of the economy of this nation?
Well, on that, I think with this present situation, most of these people, the reason why I said they are coming new is this: not that they have not been in the system of government, or they are not being in the forefront, but on this administration, just about 2 of them have been in the system. They are from outside coming into this present administration. So in light of what is prevailing, the prevailing economic situation of Nigeria as it were now, as they were coming in the system, they will need to think in line with what is. Take for example, Professor Soludo, 2004-2005, the recapitalization of banking, and these reforms really help Nigerian banks, and with that we see what Nigeria, from mostly 89 banks now to a valid 25 strong and viable banks, and with that recapitalization from 2 billion to 25 billion in Naira then. A lot of things have changed in the Nigerian system. These banks now can fund capital projects, they can fund big projects, and a lot of them have been backbone to development of this Nigeria as it were today in terms of real sectors, the development of the real sector of the economy. So with this at the background, this new committee, this new council will need to harmonize thinking from what has been on ground and formulate a policy that will reposition Nigeria for growth and development, and not only growth, with sustainability in mind. Talking about the types of revenue, that Nigeria need more revenue now. That means us to be looking for ways of generating it through tax and other physical ways. Now, with that in mind, there are a lot of other ways these people can look into, this council member can look into to generate sustainable revenue. All we know is volatile in the international market due to volatility of the price. Then we will need to think beyond and think outside of the box of the economic system to see other means of generating sustainable revenue to help the government at this time of economic crunch. Because as it were, looking at the GDP as it is growing and the debt service, which is about 30% of the total budget for the year, taking about 9.4 trillion total budget, and the debt service of about 2.something trillion naira is killing. So they will have to think on how to reduce the debt servicing and think on whether to borrow from outside the country or to borrow from within, domestic borrowing, so that in doing that they will be able to re-energize the economy by reinventing. Although we should also think about the inflationary rates and the inflationary implication of reinflating the economy now, that is introducing more money into the economy, because price will keep on rising and increasing. And with that, that is the problem with the monetary and the physical policy. The monetary and the physical need to be balanced, just like my colleague said the other time, need to go hand in glove, and things need to work together so that one will not hamper the growth of the other and will not delay the development of the other. But this time around, we need to think sustainability of whatever they are bringing to the table to Mr. President.
Okay, thank you very much. Alhaji Ajayi, as a late man in the financial circle in Nigeria, because I'm not an expert, both of you are experts. Now, look at what you mentioned the other time. 2004-2005, we had a recapitalization of banks in Nigeria. But some years thereafter, we saw one or two banks also went into insolvency. They couldn't stand on their own any longer. CBN had to intervene to save deposits money, make sure depositors' money, and make sure that they did not go down the drain. Now, what else do you think? What direction do you think this council should also dissipate their energy? Because we have talked about insurance industry to that there's supposed to be recapitalization. That has not been effected up to now. So, and these are the indices that will assist the economy. Because when depositors' money is secured in the bank and the insurance industry is also working well, healthy, then there will be that confidence to further plow back into the economy and then grow it.
Thank you very much. I think the major task of this council will be one. They should advise governments to reduce their excessive spending, recurrent expenditure especially, to cut down drastically overheads. Let us be frank and sincere with ourselves. We should start from the presidency down to the National Assembly, down to the judiciary. This recurrent expenditure that got more than 50% of the annual budget should be drastically reduced. Why do you have so many personal assistants, personal this, personal that, SA, National Assembly member, presidency also? Unfortunately, presidency also increased the number of ministers. It used to be, I think 36, 38, now to 42, 43. Now, that is another increase in recurrent expenditure on monthly basis. So presidency, the three arms of government should drastically reduce expenditure on current expenses.
Even when the CGI recently said that they have been
it's just saying that. That is number one. Number two, they should also recommend that Nigeria should, like my colleague said, we should look inwards how to get more revenue internally. Let me tell you, according to Federal Inland Revenue Service, about 2 months ago, they came out with their figure that only 19% of taxable Nigerians are paying taxes. What happened to 81%? So we should the tax practice, we have not actually harnessed make people to pay taxes in Nigeria. Though some people are saying double taxation, but people who are taxable, who are supposed to pay taxes, are not paying. They are evading their taxes. Now, we should look at the best form of generating more revenue is from the tax revenue. But not only, I will not subscribe to the idea of increase in the level of VAT because it has a multiplier effect. Right? It has a multiplier. It will be affecting the welfare of organizations in Nigeria.
Those in the lower run
of the economy will the bunch. Then again, we should look at the external financing. Look, the issue of external financing should be looked into seriously. Federal government are also proposing to borrow another $2.5 billion from the World Bank. $2.5 billion from World Bank. And like I said, we have 81-point-something billion external debts. But if you borrow $2.5 billion in addition, your reserve is just $45 billion. Now, at the end of the day,
we will come and conclude on that thought. The issue that we raised, which is very, very germane as well, very salient. The issue of $2.5 billion that Nigeria is also looking to borrow from the World Bank. So the program is still focused live on OGTV. We'll go on this quick break. When we return, my two guests are still in the house. We'll talk more about the recently constituted Economic Advisory Council led by Professor Salam Doyin Salami. So we're back shortly.
Why don't you people sell imported materials here? As beautiful as the shop is.
Auntie, buying foreign goods does not help our economy. Neither does it boost local production. And the good thing is Nigerian-made products are high quality. Really? And to make Nigeria great again, that is why I only sell made in Nigeria products. Because change begins with me.
I'm convinced. Change begins with me too! Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
I just want your papers, please.
Sir.
Salary don't enter. Yes, so and month never even reach self. Na salary plenty, oh. No wonder I no gree collect roja from my hand. Shut up, sir. I'm here to bail my younger brother. Happen.
With good laws,
proper funding, training,
and cooperation.
If it happen.
You're welcome back. I see my two guests in the house, Alhaji Mukhtar Ajayi, a senior lecturer in the Accountancy Department, Moshood Abela Polytechnic in Abeokuta, and of course, Mr. Adeyemi Oluwole, who is equally a lecturer with Economic Department here at the Chrisland University. in Abeokuta. So, Alhaji, now you were conversing that you don't subscribe to the idea of GDP, VAT,
yes,
moving from 5.0 to 7.2.
Yeah.
Now, we are equally also saying that government should look more inward and not go
external borrowing. Yes.
Which, of course, the federal government is proposing. So, where lies your thought now? If you're saying VAT should not go to 7.2, and that external borrowing should not be encouraged, then how does government source for money? Because basically, we borrow to finance budget in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Yes, you are right, perfectly in order, because in the last 2-3 years, we're having deficit budgets. You see, budget is just an estimate. Has government come out on yearly basis to tell us this is actual performance, this is what I've budgeted for, this is what I've achieved, 80%, 50%, and so on and so forth. But it is just a proposal, an estimate. But like I said, I will not subscribe to the idea of government going to borrow further in view of the fact that we have more than enough on our neck. And whether it's a single digit or 2 digits interest on the loan is loan, interest is interest. You still have to pay. Though government is continuum. If this government does not pay, succeeding government will also have to pay. But the burden will be on Nigeria. So I will not subscribe. Now, how to generate more funds? I want to give it to the present government by a way of diversification of our economy. Now you have seen that we are now moving towards agric, both at the federal level, at the state level, even in some states at the local government level. People are now going back to their farms. So the issue of cassava, the issue of rice, now border has been closed for more than 6 weeks now. We have not been seeing dead body in the streets. People have been eating rice. We have local rice.
But the economy of some people, particularly those that belong to the SMEs group, is really crippled in a way.
It is not all that crippled. What happened that we import rice from Benin Republic? Benin Republic does have a rice mill. What happened is that people import to Benin and do smuggling to Nigeria. Now, because the revenue that's supposed to accrue to Nigeria is being given to Benin government, that is why the president, the country is now soliciting that the border should be open. Look at the border that have been closed in Niger Republic. The arms and ammunition that are being used by insurgency in the north and east in Nigeria has reduced. Where do you get those arms and ammunition from? Again, look at the cows that are being brought from Chad, from Niger and Cameroon, and so on and so forth. We can still look inward and get most of these things done. Let us reduce drastically our excesses on government expenditure, especially on recurrent expenditure. And government should also remember that if you don't develop human capacity, the issue of minimum wage is there. Now, governments can do minimum wage perfectly if they reduce their own government expenditure on recurrent. They reduce the allowances of the ministers, reduce the money of the presidency, legislature, and so on and so forth. And lastly, if we have to go on borrowing, we can do internal borrowing, not external borrowing, because it affects our GDP.
Okay, Mr. Oluwole, realize your own thought here. VAT should not go to 7.2. We should not encourage external borrowing, and yet the economy must be rejigged to be favorable enough, to be flexible enough for the players in the economic industry so as to push it the way it should go. So realize, if you are saying we should not go outside and borrow, and VAT should not go to 7.2, where will government get this money?
Yes, the government have to look inward and reduce the cost of governance. The cost of governance in this country is killing. So the government have to reduce the cost of governance, and that should be part of this, the issue, the recommendation of this advisory council. Should we retain this cost of governance, or we play it low? It will favor our economy if we reduce the cost of governance, one. Then two, by looking inward, there are some other resources within this Nigeria. Predates the 1980s, Nigeria was doing fine with agriculture until the discovery of oil in commercial value around early 1970s. And before the early 70s, we see a lot of things that agriculture have produced, especially in southwestern Nigeria. A lot of giant structures that is standing today is accrued to the proceeds from agriculture in those years. So why can't we do the same? Now that we are in engineering and now falling back to agriculture, that is a good one. But there are some other solid minerals in Nigeria that could be looked into, that could be tapped and source revenue from. We have gold, we have columbite, we have a lot of other solid minerals which Nigeria could tap into. A lot of other foreigners are coming to some nooks and crannies of Nigeria, sapping off these solid minerals and exporting them to their country. Ordinary timber, we look around some areas in Nigeria, especially this southwest, Shagam and some other places, you will see these Chinese people coming in with their containers, loading off our timber for exportation. What are we doing with those things? Why don't we bring people in to establish factories, to improve on our industrialization, and most of these things being exported to, by the time it will come in, it will be in an higher rate for us in terms of furniture. These timbers and other things, agricultural produce that were taken raw, will come back to us as finished product and will end up becoming a consuming economy.
Let's entertain this call.
Yes,
the line is blinking already. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Okay, we've missed the call. Okay, you can just land on your thought today.
So rather than continue to be a consuming economy, we should also improve on our productivity and production, so that our produce will become, the product from our production will become competitive in the international world. Then it will be able to increase our exportation. Increasing our exportation will make our currency to become so strong, and our international reserve or foreign reserve will keep increasing. Rather than dropping, just this year, from the first quarter of the year, from 45, it has dropped to $43 billion. Yeah. So, and it will continue to, because of the volatility of the oil price in the international world. So we should look inward. There are some other resources that we can tap into and make money from there.
Okay, let's entertain this call. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, sir.
Hello, you're welcome to the program.
Afternoon, sir.
Yeah, who is on the line? Where are you calling from? Hello? Oh, okay, go ahead. Okay, your name again?
I want to put a point towards the center.
Okay, yeah.
On the border.
Yeah.
This is going to border. So, and our money and the economy has been increased. Now, how much is right now in market? When the border is so close, things is still hard, and we are saying now we are getting balance, and things is getting harder for we Nigeria. That's just it.
Okay, thank you very much, but I just want to let you know that here there are no pains, there are no gains.
Yes,
of course, that might want to push us to decide that, are we really getting it right or not?
Yeah,
but definitely, rice mills, most states are getting into rice production,
of course.
And I believe that within a very short period of time, the market will be flooded and the price will come down.
We have Abakaliki rice, we have Ofada, we have a very big company in Enugu. It was shown 2 days back that they are milling rice there. We have Abakaliki, we have Bonny, we have the one in Boko. You see, Benue, you see, we have the lake rice, Lagos and Kebbi. The one they did the other time. We have metros, we did here.
Okay, let's entertain this caller. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Welcome to the show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Big Daddy from my brother way.
Oh, Big Daddy, you welcome to the show. So let's have your input on the program.
Welcome to our guest.
Okay.
You see that I want you to understand one thing in Nigeria. Are we doing child's play in Nigeria? What they are doing is very well. But look at what happens when 12 enter to the ship. I don't know if you understand, sir. The nearest border, you know, Mexico or whatever, we're trying to fence everything and put only one entrance that they can be able to monitor what is happening.
Exactly.
But Nigeria have more than 20 borders only
officially.
What is government doing? Because what we are trying to do is that we only want to be able to cut off the leaf and leave the tree there. If we're trying to say, okay, let's try to close this border, how long will it be? After closing or opening this border, what is going to happen next? We should try to wake up and know that what we are doing doesn't work.
Okay.
We should try to get at the problem.
Okay, Big Daddy.
We still everything. Hello?
All right, be that well, thank you so much so that we can give others that may also want to make one input or the other opportunity to do so. So I want to appreciate you. You said the border shouldn't be closed that much. Well, what do you think? Okay, hello, we have a caller there. Hello? Yes? Hello? Yeah, good evening. What's the name? Where are you calling from?
Well, I'm calling from Lagos.
Okay, today from Lagos, welcome to the program.
Yes, I appreciate the contributions of your analysts in the house.
Yeah.
And what I just find interesting about the government policy on this issue of revenue, income, generation, vis-a-vis our foreign exchange, our external reserve, is that government is trying to diversify, must not shy away from all that good area. Because ordinarily, in the time past, the government would have really, cash in on a very particular area of income that we all know that would have brought hardship and ownership on Nigerians and that could have catastrophic eventualities. So, whatever it is, we must approach government. And with the advisory, with the National Economic Advisory Council, working with the National Economic Council, they will be able to prefer a logical solution and will be out of the lockdown.
All right, thanks. Okay, thank you very much. Well, that's another angle to it.
You see, we are talking about the issue of rice. The border that has been closed, we have saved so much. By law in Nigeria, vehicles are supposed to be imported to Nigeria through the ship, not through the land border, according to custom and excise policy. But majority of the vehicles in Nigeria are being brought in through the border, through the land border.
Can we not attribute that to maybe the bottleneck?
No, it is not the bottleneck. No, it is not. It is because they want to make more money. Like I said, these vehicles are not being manufactured in Cotonou or Togo, but they are being shipped from Germany, from England, from USA to Cotonou at a cheaper import duty to government of Benin Republic. Then they will transport, they will smuggle into Nigeria through the land border. But officially, all vehicles are supposed to come into Nigeria through the through the sea, not through the land border. So we have saved a lot of money from there.
Okay, Alhaji, Mr. Oluwole,
yes,
you won't go into that, but let me quickly react to that, and by way of doing that, maybe you also be able to educate our viewers the more. Now, recently, Nigeria became the 52nd or 53rd nation to sign the African Continental Free Trade Zone Agreement. That is to have a borderless trade among African nations. So if Nigeria has taken this policy, such economic policy, to partially close down the land borders, is that objective not been defeated, and will it not? Because I could recall when President Buhari recently visited China, the president of Benin Republic pleaded that their country is suffering, their economy is shrinking because Nigeria has closed down the land borders. So the objective of African Continental Free Trade Zone part is being defeated here. Yes. So what would be your immediate reaction?
Well, my reaction to this is simple. It's like government, if that decision holds, it's like government will be undoing itself. Because part of what enhances trade balance, that means surplus in trade balance, is degree of openness. Degree of openness to international trade. Closing our border to international trade will not help us so much. By the time Nigeria enter into this agreement, and now that this, the ECO that is coming to enforcement, that is an economic single currency that will come to play from 2020. If that comes to play, what will be the advantage of Nigeria if we have not looked inward and looked for other means of generating revenue rather than closing border, looking for taxes from United Arab Emirates did not open their border to many things to bring in the best into the nation, and the nation is developing here, every day. So Nigeria should also do something about that. Closing the border would not totally help us.
Okay, let's take this last call before we wrap it up on the show. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. You have the floor already. Mention your name and your location.
Grandmother Tajube.
Oh, okay. Grandma, so we are taking a look at the
If you want kò lè help wa. torí àwọn tó wà lọ́hùn yẹn náà wọ́n fẹ́ wá dá tẹ́lẹ̀ sí nàìjíríà ẹ ti díje mọ́ wọn báyìí sí i. kọ́ fi sí pé mẹ́wàá ni mọ́tò kọ̀ọ̀kan máa kó táwọn kọ́ yóò bá àwọn mọ́tò máa gbowó lọ́wọ́ wọn ó fẹ́ tà. gbogbo ayé sì lè fi ń pa. òṣèré ìsìnkò tẹ́wà gbogbo nǹkan ti hàn.
Okay, okay, big mommy, we can understand your point, and of course, she's also, that means she has been following the program right from the inception, not minding the language, the mode of communication. But she had made a point that government need to relax this policy so that, like I said the other time, the SMEs, that is the backbone of the economy, will also feel the brunt, and that may also allow the economy.
The closure of the border is partial, it's not total.
But it's been on for about 8 weeks now.
Yes. Governments have set up a committee to review the closure and come up with idea of. You see, there are some certain things that we should not overflog. The issue of border closure is a security matter too. Apart from the economic aspect of it.
Okay, don't let us go to that because I know if you are to also delve into that, you will have the next 1 or 2 hours. But now let's begin to wrap up now. Let me begin with Mr. Oluwole. Now, this is the team, the Economic Advisory Council. Now, in the immediate terms, should this team advise government to relax the policy on partial land border closure and some other issues like the cashless policy as well too? The 2.2% increase in VAT and what it is. At the end of the day, will the government will have been seen to have justified the reason why this council is being put together?
Well, without sounding too loud, I believe this set of people, most of them particularly are market-driven people. They are market-oriented people. They know the best thing to do with the government. But the onus lies on the government to take to the advice or not to take to the advice. So they can give the advice, but if the government do not have the political will to implement or to enforce whatever they advise them, the government is at will. But I will suggest that some of these policies that is hitting hard on the welfare of the people, the advisory committee should advise the government to lower down or to play down some of those policies.
Okay, in one sentence, Alhaji Jai, because we need to wrap up from now. In one sentence. So the team, the advisory council.
You see, the box lies on the presidency. Economy is made up of the government, business, and the household. So the government should be able, the presidency should be able to carry all these 3 tiers together so that we can move the economy forward. And the committee should endeavor to advise governments not to go on borrowing externally, but to look inward, much more inward, and generate more resources, more revenue for the economy of Nigeria to triumph.
All right, thank you very much. I also know that we're going to wrap up the show for this week. And you agree with me that my experts in the House have really made their point. They have also aligned with the presidency on this constitution of Economic Advisory Council. Is a right step in the right direction. But there are advices that have been offered for this council to also take a look at so that the economy at the end of the day will be friendly, flexible, and practicable for every player in the economic circle. So I must thank Alhaji Mukhtar Ajayi for finding time to share your thoughts with us on the program. And of course, not forgetting Mr. Adeyemi Oluwole. We also thank you for finding time to be with us on the program.
Thank you, presenter, and thank you, our viewers.
All right, so on that note, we'll wrap up this week's edition of Focus Live. I remain Tunde Shodete. Your regular host, Kayode Taiwo, has been on his annual vacation, so I'll be standing in for the period that will be away. So see you next week. God willing, keep flourishing in the peace of the Most High. Bye for now.